All right, in this video, we're going to talk about some variations of the import statement. And in the previous video, if you haven't watched that about the import statement, then make sure that you go back and watch that. In that video, we talked about importing modules, and we just looked at import module, the basic import statement. So now we want to talk about these variations. The first one is import module as identifier. So in the previous video, I talked about my module and this example, and here's what we did. So to look at this first one, import module as identifier. So I'm just going to change this one here. And so this is basically, you can provide an alias, right, for my module. Say you get sick of, as we saw in the previous video, right, we had to prepend all of these references with my module here, and maybe you get tired of typing my module over and over again. You can shorten that up a little bit or change it to something else. Or if you have another module also called my module, right, maybe you could, or something else, you could change the name. Or if you had my module as a variable name in here or something, you can change the name to something else. All right, now when I try to run this, though, you'll see it doesn't run anymore. And that's because I need to change all of these references to my module. It doesn't know what that is anymore. So I would need to change those to whatever I put here on the as, after the as clause. All right, and so you can see that works. So that's useful for shortening up names and other uses like that. Okay. So you can change that. The next one is from module import identifier. Okay, so that one is for if you want to just import selected parts of a module. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And I'm going to go ahead and put from my module import my var. And then what I'm going to do, right, when you do it that way, is I'm going to get rid of all these references to the module name. And then I'm going to comment this out. Here you can see that I get name my var is not defined. So it doesn't know what this is, right? So say I wanted to import my var without importing the whole module, right? I could do from my module import my var. Now we're still going to get an error, right? But you'll notice we don't get an error on my var anymore. Here the error is about my function. So if we wanted to, we could put my function in there. And again, that will import only my var and my function. So you can see now we get my class is not defined, so I could do my class. Okay, and so now you can see it's running as before. Also notice though that this code, when I do the import statement, right, the code is being run again. So you can see that this statement down here on line 11 of the module, right, is getting executed when I do this import statement here. Okay. Okay, so you can import selected parts, right, of your module by doing that. All right, here you can also add aliases, right, to that as well. So I'm going to do some separate things here. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. And notice when I'm using this from clause, I don't have to prepend with the module name. Okay, so you can see that this is running perfectly fine without having to put the module name here. So that's a benefit. Another benefit, right, of using this different variation of import. You can import selected things, only the things that you need, if you want to save space or anything like that, or memory, I guess. And then also, you don't have to prepend with the module name. So next up, I'm going to put the as clause on this. So we'll call myvar mv. So when I run this, right, you can see now it says name myvar is not defined. So here I have to call it mv. So now, right, instead of referring it to as myvar all the time, right, I need to just call it mv if I use this. Okay, so you can kind of alias that and change the name. Notice that this part still, again, ran, right, and it was able to access myvar. Over here, this code, right, uses myvar, but that's in the other module. It's running this module as it goes. All right, then what else? Okay, so that was that one. So the last one is from module import everything. So let's do that. So that's a wildcard, and that will import everything out of that module. And so I would need to change this. This MV is not going to work, so it's myvar here. Okay, so you can see, right, that imported everything in one statement. I didn't have to import things separately using the from import. You can see I also didn't have to prepend, right, any of these things with the name of the module as well. And so that's pretty convenient, right? It allows you to import a lot of stuff easily. However, right, you've got to be very careful about this. The reason why that you need to be careful is because of the fact that this imports everything, right? So here it's not probably such a big deal because we can easily see all of the variables, functions, and classes declared here. However, imagine if you had a lot of code that you were importing. Who knows, right? How many variables, functions, and class definitions might be in there. You could have some names of things in the module that conflict with names in your program over here. And so if you import things with the same name, then that's going to be trouble, okay? Things are not going to run as you intend them to run. So you need to be very careful about doing that, okay? And so this is kind of discouraged that you would do that, especially if you're just importing some random code you don't know. And if you have a lot of code, right, in your files, then the chances are you could have a name conflict in there. That's going to cause you a real headache if you are not careful about that. Okay? All right, so I think I'm just going to stop it here. And then in the next video, we will talk about how to stop code in a previous module, in a module when you do the import, how you stop it from running.